expressed by the hosts and co-hosts of this program does not necessarily reflect the views of TGON Radio and TVH Group of Networks.
TGON and AspMedia brings you Asphere's Cafe. The cafe is now open.
Well, it's good to be back here, and yes, welcome to the cafe. Well, much better than last 2 weeks. So, yep, I feel much better, and of course, we are back with another episode of Asphere's Cafe. Today is Monday, December 15, 2025, and oh wow, we are very close to Christmas week. So, we're like, less than 10 days before Christmas? Jeez, time really flies, huh? So, if you're wondering where is Dreamcar, well, unfortunately, Dreamcar is absent because he is going to be attending Simpang Gabi. So, Dreamcar will be back probably next week to my coffee. But, either way, without any further ado now, let's start talking about that the topics that I'm going to be discussing right here. So let's head over to Reddit. All right. Well. Microsoft scales back AI goals because almost nobody is using Copilot. Hooray! Hooray, Microsoft, hooray! We knew this would eventually happen, and it did. So let's get my screen share up because we will be talking about this, and yes, this is coming from Extreme Tech. So let's get my screen share right here. All right, I know you're excited because AI bubble is eventually gonna pop, and here it is. Yup, right here, ladies and gentlemen, right here. So this is coming from Extreme Tech, as we'll be reading through on why Microsoft is scaling back their plans on the AI, including Microsoft Copilot. Right, so here it is. Microsoft has cut its sales targets for its agentic AI software after struggling to find buyers interested in using it. In some cases, targets have been slashed by up to 50%, suggesting Microsoft overestimated the potential of its new AI tools. Indeed, compared with ChatGPT and Google's Gemini, Copilot is falling behind, raising concerns about Microsoft's substantial AI investment. Excuse me. Microsoft was an early investor in many of the latest AI companies. It ended up with a serious stake in OpenAI and benefited from early access to its models, creating Bing Chat and Copilot when Google, Meta, and Anthropic were just getting started. But now, its momentum has stalled, and like everyone else, it's not making much money from its AI products. That's because no one is buying them, and that is because very few people actually find them useful, the information reports. So Microsoft sent in a very defensive statement by Futurism, adding that, reading quote, the information story inaccurately combines the concepts of growth and sales quotas. Aggregate sales quotas for AI products have not been lowered. That's the quote there. Petulance aside, tests from earlier this year found that AI agents fail to complete tasks up to 70% of the time, making them almost entirely redundant as a workforce replacement tool. At best, there are ways for skilled employees to be more productive and save time on low-level tasks, but those tasks were already being handed off to lower-level employees. Having an AI do it and fail half the time isn't exactly a winning alternative. Other AI companies are just doing better too. Windows Central reports that in OpenAI's ChatGPT comments over 61% of the market, and Google's Gemini is now less than 1% behind Microsoft's 40% of Copilot. That's after a 12% growth over the last quarter too, suggesting Gemini is well on its way to becoming the real second place alternative to ChatGPT. So, this could be a huge turning point for Microsoft, and yes, it is true that Microsoft has led a momentum at first, but now they're falling behind. And with Google Gemini consistently adding its new features, which got people hooked into using their features, it makes sense why Microsoft is holding back from holding back from their AI features for next year. So yeah, I guess this is not looking good for Microsoft, as we are saying here. So let us know in the comments below and what you say about this. Do you really think Microsoft Copilot is worth using it? Because as we all know with this concern that Microsoft has been forcing for you to use Copilot even on Windows 11 and now LG TVs, which we'll get into that in a bit. And speaking of Copilot, yup, you heard it right. LG has released an update that installs Microsoft Copilot and you cannot uninstall it. Oh my god. So here is it from Web Pro News. In the ever-evolving world of smart televisions, where convenience often clashes with consumer control, a recent software update from LG Electronics has ignited a firestorm of frustration among users. Reports emerging from online forums detail how the update surreptitiously installs Microsoft Copilot, an AI-powered assistant, onto LG smart TVs without an option for removal. This development raises profound questions about user autonomy, privacy, and the growing intersection of big tech partnerships in consumer electronics. What began as a routine firmware enhancement has morphed into a symbol of broader tensions in the smart device ecosystem, where manufacturers prioritize monetization over user preferences, and this is what LG is doing right now. The controversy centers on a Reddit post in the r/mildly infuriating subreddit, where a user lamented the unexpected addition of Copilot following an automated update. The post, which garnered thousands of upvotes and comments, describes the AI tool appearing as a non-deletable app on the TV's interface. Users echoed similar experiences, expressing dismay over what they perceive as forced bloatware. This isn't an isolated incident. It aligns with LG's history of integrating advertising and third-party services into its WebOS platform, but the inability to uninstall Copilot marks a new level of imposition. Here it is. So we're gonna read this right here. Microsoft Copilot, originally designed as a productivity tool for Windows M1 process, which is true, leverages generative AI to assist with tasks like content summarization and query responses. Its integration into LG TV suggests an ambition to embed AI deeper into home entertainment systems. However, for many owners, this feels like less like an enhancement and more like innovation. And unfortunately, this is what Microsoft has done, inking a partnership with LG and LG installing it that is not removable. That's what they did. Invasion. Commenters on the Reddit thread speculated about potential data collection implications, fearing that Copilot could monitor viewing habits or voice comments, feeding into Microsoft's vast AI training data sets. Which, I mean, I understand it's a concern thing, and we should be concerned. Delving into the technical side, LG's WebOS updates are typically rolled out over the air, promising improvements in performance, security, and features. According to LG's own support documentation, as detailed in an article from LG's Hub Library, these updates can introduce new functionalities, including advertising elements. Yet, the Copilot installation appears to bypass user consent mechanisms, embedding itself as a core component. Industry insiders note that such integrations often stem from strategic alliances, with Microsoft and LG likely collaborating to expand AI reach into living rooms. User reactions, as captured in real-time discussions on X, or formerly Twitter, reveal a mix of outrage and resignation. Posts from users like those highlighting privacy concerns, pointing to a pattern where smart TVs, including LG models, track viewing data for targeted ads. One X post referenced LG's past policies on data sharing, warning that opting out might not fully prevent information leakage. Yikes, to say the least. This sentiment echoes broader privacy debates, with some users advising others to disable automatic updates or even disconnect their TVs from the internet to regain control. Further amplifying the issue, news outlets have reported on similar encroachments. For instance, a piece in The Verge discussed LG's rollout of screensaver ads on OLED models, which appear when TV is idle. This update, separate but related, underscores LG's push toward ad-supported revenue streams, potentially paving the way for AI tools like Copilot to serve personalized content or promotions. So yeah, this is not good, and I will not be reading the rest, but we knew this was coming, and this is bad, to be honest. This is really, really bad. So who really asked for Copilot, right? Who asked for Copilot to be installed on under your LG TV when no one asked for it, and heck, no one is even using Copilot. Like, who is asking for it, right? This is crazy. Like, LG, this is the next level bullshit we are seeing, and this is bad. So come on, they need to backtrack from this. This is concerning. So if all TVs eventually get Copilot update and it's not removable, this is really bad. So what do you think about this? And what are your comments? Let us know in the comment section down below. All right, so let's move on to the next one, and well, we need to talk about the ISP situation there. So here is the post FU PLTT, and this was posted on r/internetph. The reason why they're saying FU to PLTT is because they have been waiting for an hour, and only to find out they dropped the call, and then they had to wait another hour, and that's what they are getting. That's bad. So here's the proof right there. What's number one? Next hour, also 1 hour off the call. Damn. So really, when it comes to picking internet service providers, guys, it's really pick your poison type. So you have three giant ISPs, like you have PLDT, Globe at Home, and Converge ICT. So again, all three are not that good when it comes to customer service, with Converge ICT being the worst customer service of all. So now with this post, now this is a nightmare for PLDT customer service. So this is really bad. So yeah, he just said F to the agents right there. So he said, what's the point and the problem, and is there a problem with the paying customers? And they even settled the bill, but they've not used the service, but haven't used the service because of outage. I'm not gonna say this one because, again, language, and I'm not gonna risk getting suspended in my friend, but you get the point, because this reflects that ISPs in the Philippines are pure garbage, and no customer service is really perfect. Because again, 310 ISPs may really vary in your area, because no ISPs are perfect. So even if you wanna like if you wanna pick ISPs, when you move into your new condo or your new house, it really is a pick your poison type. So you have to do your own research which ISP is worth subscribing to in your local area. And for my case, none of the big three ISPs are offering fiber internet when we moved in, so we temporarily relied on 5G internet, home internet Wi-Fi, that is home Wi-Fi internet, that is smart 5G Max, and and my overall experience, the first month of using it was good, but second month onwards, when we renewed our plan, the internet slowed down when we reached 10 gigabytes of data, and it was not worth it, especially when the internet speeds were throttling to 5 megabits per second. So in that case, we finally gave up and moved over to the only fiber ISP that is locally serving, and that is InfiniBand. And I'm gonna be honest with InfiniBand. InfiniBand is truly reliable in my experience in my area, and I haven't had any issues aside from the NAT issue which was already resolved 3 weeks ago, and I couldn't be happier when InfiniBand quickly, well, not quickly, corresponded to my concern. They were able to take action at least much faster compared to PLDT and Globe. So I say this, so InfiniBand is truly reliable in my area, and I don't know for you guys if you're watching this right now, but is InfiniBand available in your area? That's what I would like to know. So yeah, InfiniBand truly worth it, but for the big 3 other giant ISPs, it really is pick your poison type. And again, your usage may vary in your area. That also applies to InfiniBand, because for me, my experience with InfiniBand in my area is good. So I had no issues. It's really reliable. So yeah, kudos to InfiniBand. Shout out to them. So yeah, again, I did use PLDT before. in my previous place, and it was a right experience. But we did have an outage in the new year, if I remember correctly. That was around 2024, and yeah, it was not a good start when we celebrated New Year and then the internet went down. But yeah, that was the area outage, rather. But yeah, it's, but hey, at least after like several months ahead, the internet was the PLDT internet was stable enough and haven't had any issues. So yeah, again, usage may vary. So there you go. That's my experience with PLDT and recently InfiniBand. So what do you think about this post? Because after seeing this, when it comes to primarily related to 1 hour waiting time, yeah, that is yeah next level BS. So yeah, well let's know in the comment section down below what you think about this. Now let's head over to the last one before we take a break. I'm still having how do I say this in English term? I don't really know how to say it in Tagalog term, but okay, last one before we take a break. If this is true that they're going back to producing 4 gigabytes of RAM because of again the RAM shortage, this is just the evolution. Okay, this is the evolution. So due to memory limitations, lower end devices will return to 4 gigabytes of RAM for 2026. Yeah, for 2026. Ultra flashes will decrease from 16 gigabytes to 12 gigabytes with just a few exceptions, while mid-range devices are expected to move back to 6 or 8 gigabytes smaller. In involution. Yeah. AI eating RAM like it's free. Yeah, this is exactly the consequence we are seeing here. This is the consequence, okay? This is the consequence. I swear, this is the consequence because, you know, AI companies are doubling down on flying up the RAMs, and yeah, we are starting to see the outcome for this. So, wonder how will the lineup of smartphones will look like next year, especially now that the RAM shortage is imminent. Alright, it's now 6:53 p.m. and we will be taking a break as we will have more tech headlines right here on Asphere's Cafe. Oh my god, at least I don't cough as often, but it's still slightly bad, but I don't feel the sore throat anymore. Anyway, we will be right back. We will be covering more right here. So, our sponsors, we have Dell Sound, Asphere Appliances, J-Force Pizza, Coffee and Coffee, Central Simplus, and Melody Mart. As Asphere's Coffee, we'll be right back after the break. Okay, welcome back to the show. It is now 7:08 p.m. as we continue our tech cafe right here on Asphere's Cafe. Now, let's head over to the Verge now, and yeah, let's get my private server for all the news outlets there. Wait a minute here. All right, we are continuing our AI, the Copilot AI fiasco, and yup, Microsoft's AI chief Mustafa Suleyman has warned that the odds of existential doom are nearly absolute, and they could walk away. Whoa, ho, ho, oh boy, if a risk escalates. So, yep, we're gonna talk about that in just a second. So let's get our screen share right here. Having All right, here it is. So let's get up this here. All right. This is coming from Windows Central, guys. In March 2024, DeepMind and Inflection co-founder Mustafa Suleyman joined Microsoft to lead its AI division, focusing on advancing Copilot and other consumer AI products and research. Microsoft has been heavily invested in the generative AI landscape, especially after making a $1 billion investment in OpenAI back in 2018. Since then, the AI firm has remained closely aligned with Microsoft, despite Bill Gates initially discouraging CEO Satya Nadella from investing. This is what he said to Satya. "You're going to burn this $1 billion." That's a quote from Gates, which he wanted. Investors have raised concerns about defining a clear profitability path in the ever-evolving sector amid billion-dollar investments. More recently, a damning report suggested that Microsoft's internal AI efforts are paying off, prompting the company to cut sales goals for its Azure AI products across the board. The report further detailed that virtually nobody is using Microsoft's AI products. Microsoft and OpenAI renewed their vows under a new definitive agreement after months of tension and pressure from investors to evolve into a for-profit venture. As part of the new arrangement, Microsoft is now free to pursue artificial general intelligence independently or with third parties. Additionally, OpenAI can prematurely declare AGI to sever its ties with Microsoft unless an independent expert panel verifies the claim. It now appears the company may slow AI development if it comes at UNT's expense. During a recent interview on Bloomberg's The Ms. Hall Hussein show, Suleyman indicated, "We will continue to develop a system that has the potential to run away from us. And yet, I think it's kind of a novel position in the industry at the moment." So Microsoft has made significant headway in the AI space, where with Mustafa Suleyman at the forefront, pushing for humanist superintelligence. The executive has been promoting the development of AI systems strictly designed to serve humans. Microsoft's AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman, once again, leading with a quote, "Microsoft needs to be self-sufficient in AI, and to do that, we have to train frontier models of all scales with our own data and compute at the state-of-the-art level." Prior to the new definitive agreement with OpenAI, Microsoft had essentially foregone chasing AGI and superintelligence to access the firm's flagship technologies. Microsoft, Suleyman said, had essentially forfeited those rights in exchange for access to OpenAI's latest products, one element of a partnership that had the company building and fitting out data centers on OpenAI's behalf for years. So let's read the quote from himself. Excuse me. Anyway, they now have deals with SoftBank and many others, Oracle, to build more data centers than Microsoft wanted to build for them. And so, in return, we then have the right to go develop our own AI. We have still been a general purpose AI development shop for over the last 18 months, but now we can work on some techniques and methodologies that have the potential to exceed human performance at all tasks. And so, it is a shift for us. Interestingly, the executive took a neutral stance on its competitors' efforts in the AI landscape. Is what he said. Everybody has to decide what they stand for and how they operate, and I don't want to judge how they're operating right now. Even as Microsoft moves forward with its plans to evolve Copilot into a real friend companion that ages, the executive admits that chatbot can make mistakes sometimes and that it's still in development. This news comes amid multiple reports in the past claiming that there's a high probability the tech could lead to existential doom. AI safety researcher and director of the cybersecurity laboratory at the University of Louisville, Roman Rampolsky, previously indicated that there's a 99.99999% probability AI will end humanity according to the P-Duke scale. So, now, this is the poll right here. If you want to follow, if you want to vote, I'm gonna eventually put it in the video description if I have time. But yeah, there's a poll right here. So, should Microsoft and other tech companies abandon AI, or is it inevitable? And you have 4 choices. You have yes, get out while we can. No, the trend is overflowing. No, because China is just going to do it anyway. And the 4th option is very funny. Sorry, my spot. I'm busy. So anyway, no, because I want the world to end. Well, that's fun. That's a funny 4th question right there. And as you can see, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to say yes, get out while we can, because AI bubble is going too far. So they need to ban AI already. So what do you think about this? Let us know in the comment section down below. Alright, I'm back. Sorry that took a long time, but anyway, show must go on, so let's continue. Alright guys, it's now time for weekly poll results and this week's weekly poll. When it comes to the smartphones, of course. So, it looks like the Galaxy Z trifold is surprisingly popular. And yup, here is the chart right here. I would if it was cheaper with 482 votes, which is sitting at 20%. Yes, I want one with 471 votes, sitting at 23.1%. I don't want a book style foldable, sitting at 420 votes, nice number, which is sitting at 20.6%. No, I want the Huawei Mate XP Ultimate instead, with sitting at 162 votes and 8%. No, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is the one for me, sitting at 129 votes, which is 6.3%. Maybe I'll wait for reviews, sitting at 120 votes, and it's sitting at 5.9%, and it's not available near me with 70 votes, sitting at 3.4%. So, yup, to my surprise, Samsung is nailing it with the trifold. So nice one, Samsung. Next, for this week's smartphone weekly poll, which is the best Android skin? So, if you recall, if you if you bought smartphones in the past, you will probably have noticed that there's a custom skin on your home screen, and it's true. So, you have various Android skins like One UI, Color OS, Hyper OS, I think. Yeah, there's so many of them. But yeah, now let's head over to your options for this week. Which is the best Android skin? You have Magic OS, Pixel, which is stock Android, Color OS, Hello UI, Nothing OS, One UI, Xperia OS, Origin OS, Hyper OS, or Custom ROM, or you don't care. So that's your poll for this week. And there's one more. How important is the Android skin? I only buy phones running my favorite skin. I hate one particular skin, others are fine. It's important, but not a deal breaker, and almost doesn't matter, and I don't care option. So these are the polls that will run until next week, and now, what about you? What is your favorite Android skin so far among these lists right here? Let us know in the comment section down below, of course. Excuse me. Alright, our time check is now 7:24 p.m. and we are less than 6 minutes before we wrap the show up for TVH. I think I might have to wrap the show early because co-hosts are not available and I don't think I can survive this longer with this stuff, so I might end the show early, I guess. But either way, I will just inform everybody real quick. I don't know, but yeah, I might have to end the show early if that's the case. But of course we will have to end the show for TVH first because our time is nearly running out. So yeah, let's see what else we can cover here. Ha ha ha. Am I not too surprised yet? Windows 10's extended updates aren't causing issues and MSMQ or message queuing won't work. So here it is coming from Windows latest. If you can excuse me for a bit or so, I need to do something. All right, I'm back, and unfortunately, we're less than a minute before we run out before we leave the program. So I think this is where we will have to end here for our fellow TVH network viewers tonight. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and we will be back again tomorrow as usual with more tech topics right here on Asphere's Cafe. So yeah, this is Asphere's Cafe on TVH. I'm Cairo, and yeah, we will still be live on Cool FM and Ask Radio along with its official YouTube channel that is Asphere's Cafe. Alright, we will see you tomorrow, TVH viewers. Bye-bye. And we're back. It's exactly 7:30, and now that we left TVH, we are still, of course, live on Cool FM, Ask Radio, and 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 on its YouTube channel that is Asphere's Cafe, and also on Facebook page by TGON Cool FM Manila. All right, so let's get this picture up because we need to talk about the Windows 10's extended update having issues again. Alright, here it is. This is coming from Windows latest, and yup, Microsoft has confirmed that coming from its readers, December 2025's patch update, which is KB5071546 for Windows 10, has a bug that causes issues with MSMQ, otherwise known as message queuing. This issue mostly affects businesses as consumer businesses do not have MSMQ installed or enabled, and consumer apps also don't depend on MSMQ. So what even is MSMQ or Microsoft Message Queuing? Well, it is a component that allows apps or services to send messages to a queue, so another app or service can process them later. In most cases, it is used by enterprise apps to manage background tasks, and if the MSMQ component stops working, a lot of background tasks simply stop running and block the primary app or website. If your apps rely on MSMQ, you might not be able to open apps or sites that rely on IIS, which stands for Internet Information Services, and is also responsible for locally hosting apps or services. If you're affected, you will see this error right here. System messaging message queue exception is sufficient resources to perform operation. Now, how Microsoft broke MSMQ with the latest update? Well, Windows latest understands that the December 2025 update, which is only for extended security update in all PCs, likely changed how MSMQ works. This affected the component's security behavior. Microsoft also updated NTS permissions where MSMQ stores queue data, which according to the test is the following, which starts here in this file path. After the patch, the account that uses MSMQ now needs write access to that storage folder. In many real setups, MSMQ is accessed by IIS app role identities, local service or network service, or a lockdown service account that doesn't have the right permission there. As a result, MSMQ can't write its message files, and it starts failing. One user told Windows latest that their queues refuse to connect. You also see an inactive state, which confirms something is off. Unfortunately, if you restart the service or the server itself and even try reinstalling the messaging queuing from optional features in control panel, it will still not work. However, if you manually navigate to the Windows Office history and remove Windows 10 KB5071546, MSMQ will start working again. There are also seeing reports of the issue appearing on Windows Server 2019, but Windows latest tests could not reproduce it on Windows Server 2022. So, one of the affected users wrote in a Microsoft post responded by Windows latest. Quote, I also noticed that the NTFS security descriptor gets changed from DP to DPAI. The AR flag are inherited seems to that the DACLs get modified or changed. That could lead to users like it IIS underscore IUSRS slash local service slash network service to be not allowed anymore on this folder. Another system admin who installed KB507154 on Windows Server 20 also experienced similar issues, including MSNQ, insufficient disk space, or memory errors. One user explained, quote, correct, my IIS apps that required MSNQ to function completely stopped and my monitor records it as a 500 error, one user explained. So, if you're curious, this is how the error looks like. So Microsoft has confirmed that it's investigating issues with message queuing after installing Windows 10 KG5071.546, and it has nothing more to share for now. So Microsoft noted in an update to the support document Spotify with its latest. After installing this update, users might face issues with the message queuing functionality. This issue also impacts classic MSMQ environments under load. This issue does not affect Windows 11, so it's isolated to just Windows 10, which is odd because the operating system is on extended security support and is barely getting any noticeable changes. It makes you wonder how Microsoft could break all the features in Windows even when the OS itself is no longer being developed for new features. Okay, so if you want to get this working after installing the latest update, the best workaround for now is to uninstall the update and it's gonna work. So yeah. Not a good look right there. So what do you think about this? Let us know in the comment section down here. If you can excuse me again, I need to do something. Alright, I'm back. So let's do one more before we take a last commercial break, perhaps. Oh wow! Starlink and Chinese satellites nearly collided this last week. Huh. God, I wonder. and it's obviously paywall, so I don't know if I can cover this, but either way, this is not good, or whatever. Anyway, okay, I mentioned to bypass the paywall crap there, but yeah. Anyway, here this is coming from The Verge, of course. A collision in space was narrowly avoided last week when a nearly, let me just screen share. Yep, there we go. A collision in space was narrowly avoided last week when a newly deployed Chinese satellite came within a few hundred meters of one of the roughly 9,000 Starlink satellites currently operating in low Earth orbit. SpaceX is laying the blame on the satellite operator for not sharing location data. So this is what Michael Nichols, who is the vice president of Starlink Engineering, wrote. When satellite operators do not share ephemeris for the satellites, dangerously close approaches can occur in space. A few days ago, 9 satellites were deployed for a launch from the TGON Satellite Launch Center in northwestern China. As far as we know, no coordination or deconfliction with existing satellites operating in space was performed, resulting in a 200-meter close approach between one of the deployed satellites and Starlink. Hold on. Anyway, emergency happened. Anyway, I'm gonna continue right here. As far as we know, no coordination or deconfliction with existing satellites operating in space was performed, resulting in a 200-meter close approach between one of the deployed satellites and Starlink 607956120 at 560 kilometer latitude, right there. Starlink satellites have the ability to automatically adjust course to avoid objects in their path. However, those objects have to be known for the avoidance system to work. In the first 6 months of 2025, Starlink spacecraft performed over 144,000 such manifests. The offending satellite was launched by Fast Space, which responded to Nichols on X. This is the statement, quote, "Our team is currently in contact for more details. All Fast Space launches select their launch windows using the ground space awareness system to avoid collisions with known satellites debris. This is a mandatory procedure. The commercial space launch company based in Guangzhou, China, then seemed to distance itself from blame by saying this incident occurred nearly 48 hours after payload separation, by which time the launch mission had long concluded. Over 24,000 objects, including satellite and debris, are currently being tracked in low Earth orbit, an increase of 76% since 2019, according to the publication states. And by the end of this decade, there could be as many as 70,000 satellites operating in that same region, mostly in the service of space internet constellations being launched by private and government organizations in the US, China, and Europe. News of the near miss will only increase worry over so many spacecraft operating in the same region. As the territory goes, any collision could trigger a Kessler syndrome scenario whereby a cascading series of collisions would wipe out existing satellites and make the entirety of low Earth orbit unusable. Alright, so, well, that's something, to say the least. But yeah. Anyway, let us know what you think about this. Alright, it is now 7:44 p.m. and well, I got something to settle with. I was really in the middle. I couldn't be bothered getting interrupted. But yeah, we'll be right back after the break. Stay along with us. All right, welcome back to the cafe. It is 8 o'clock in the evening now, and well, it's not going well in our place right now. So apparently, I there is some shit going on in yeah, there is some shit going on right now. In our in how it is in where my sister is stranded. I tried calling her. She's not picking up. And I was the fact that I was annoyed that I had to slam the door. So yeah, and that's I mean she was saying it in a good way, but I didn't appreciate I didn't I was that yeah I got interrupted. I wasn't really pleased, so that's why I slammed the door. And yeah, I might have to end the show early if the escalations are going further. So, Teraby, if you're hearing this right now, I repeat, start preparing the replay of Hang Out with Momon in advance because I don't know what's gonna happen in a few minutes from now. If things are escalating further, I'm gonna have to end the show early. But anyway, back to to some more pet coffee right here. So excuse me right here. All right, hold on. Hold on. Oh my god. You know what? I think I need to talk to the executive real quick. Uh, I mean, hold on. Okay, anyway, back to the regular programming now. Apologies for a sudden silence there. So, hopefully you guys don't mind because it's not our business to discuss it here on our show. But either way, let's continue, shall we? Alright, I already talked about that. You know what? Give me a moment. Another price increase. Well, this time for Galaxy A series phones in India. Right, hold on. I might do something again. I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. Let me settle this arching shit real quick. We'll be right back. Oh boy. I think I need to be concerned with this. Yeah, I think I need to be concerned at this point. Anyway, I'll deal with that later, but the show must go on. So, let's talk about the Galaxy A series phones getting a price increase in India for real this time. Alright, this is coming from GS Marina. The Galaxy A37 and A57 are expected to drop next month, and usually the current models become more affordable. However, according to the latest tip, the company is planning to hike the price of Galaxy A models in India by around 1,000 Indian rupees. The Galaxy A56, on the other hand, will see its prices go up by 2,000 Indian rupees. The new prices will go into effect next week as early as Monday. The most probable reason for the price hikes is the cost of memory chips. Well, yeah, they're all about a shortage in the memory segment due to soaring demand for HBM and DDR5 DRAM chips, which are essential for AI data centers. If this is indeed the reason for the Galaxy A price increases, it will come as no surprise if other manufacturers will follow suit and ramp up prices as well. So there you go. Well, I'm already starting to hate AI because of this. And not necessarily hate AI, but the fact that AI companies are eating up the RAM, yeah, that's what makes me not want to like about. Either way, what are all constantly on this so far. All right. Well, we have our next one, and yup, Swiss Competition Commission is investigating Apple for its NFC access on iPhone. So Apple has found itself in the crosshair of the European Commission many times over the past few years, and now it's also being investigated by the Swiss Competition Commission. This has to do with access to NFC on iPhones. Apple started to allow third-party access to the NFC chip last year, following an initial opening up in the European Union. But if you want to use the iPhone's NFC chip, you need to enter into a commercial agreement with Apple and pay the fees it requests, and that is precisely what the SEC is investigating. Namely, the SEC is trying to ascertain whether Apple's terms and conditions for granting this access could raise competition law concerns in Switzerland. The SEC says it seeks to clarify whether other providers of mobile payments apps can effectively compete with Apple Pay for contactless payments with iOS device in shops. Interestingly, the SEC says that Apple's terms and conditions for granting access to NFC to third parties differ from those applicable in the European in the European Economic Area. This is just a preliminary investigation, however, and it's unclear how long it will take. So, well, it is not going to end well, isn't it, for Apple, huh? Because if you want to use it as a third-party provider to use NFC, you have to pay fees for Apple. Well, we'll see how that goes. But either way, this is not gonna end well. Alright, so let's now head over to Reddit because we have over last 10 minutes to cover for this portion. Oh wow! Oh! Freebies from Maya here at Trinoma, second level front of shoe salon. Interesting. So what are the freebies? Right here. So you have umbrella. This is umbrella. You have. This is cool. This is pretty cool. Yeah, this is pretty cool. We got freebies here. This is cool. So yeah, you have. I think that's a T-shirt, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, they have a lot. But if I wish I could get one, but it's too far. But it looks cool, to say the least. In China, no. They also have a market and one Yala. And well, some branches require you to open up Maya credit. Yeah, I think that's really sucks. It's taking a toll, man. It's I see Allegro. Oh yeah, it is. I see Polish language text there. But for real, we are seeing a camera comparison with Honor Magic 7 Pro and Galaxy S25. So here is the Honor Magic 7 Pro, and down here is the Galaxy S25. Honestly, the Galaxy S25 looks sharper, look better in terms of camera quality, judging how it looks there. So definitely S25. Ooh, they're giving out desserts, huh? This is this is nice. Yeah, this is nice. Huh, they have another movie coming out. Yeah, but we'll talk about it on Wednesday. This feature in Windows 8 GB RAM. Wait, what? Interesting. So the delivery optimization is eating up the RAM. I did not know that. Wait. Let's start it off. You know what? Yeah, let's start it off. Let's start it off. Why not? Let's start it off. Right, like right now. Let's start it off. Windows update. There's a bunch of Easter updates, which I'm not going to do that. And then you have no wonder why. Alright, I'm gonna turn it off. Well, that explains it. That explains it. That explains it. Delivery optimization, use peer-to-peer technology to improve the speed bump. Interesting. Oh yeah, okay, I'll just start that one then. Laptop warehouse. Alright, so they're saying that their business is very suspicious and a lot of people have gone to buy the laptop. They're selling laptops for half the price with the 1,499 Asphere promo. I know there's something wrong with it. Like, how would they profit from it? Well, as someone who's been to and looked at one of the branches, they're a legit business, but has coming. Okay, okay. Okay. Well. Those cheap laptops are really bad, even the stolen. Yup. Well. For that branch in Marikina, it starts at 4,999 pesos. And well, I can already say that it will have a absolute dog shit specs. And interestingly, they talked about the 999 peso laptop, which was discussed in KMJS, which is the tabloid show in the Philippines. Well, that's something. Okay, well, they have a bad experience. They have a bad experience. I'm not surprised, to be honest. I am not surprised. Being honest here, I'm not surprised. Good for Apple. They finally made their Fitness Plus subscription available. Good for them. And their battery is 1%. Low. They use a high cut. Oh, I'm not talking about that. Well. Palms, Las Vegas, and their advertising billboard is showing. Yup, you guessed it. Windows backup. Yup, you guessed it. So there you go. I guess our time is up now. So yeah, that is it from me, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. And I still need to check on my sister if she's still stranded or not. So I have to do something anyway. But yeah, once again, we will be back again tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Asphere's Cafe. So this has been Asphere's Cafe. Carol and the cafe is now closed. We will be seeing you tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Cool FM and Ask Radio. The coffee's over. Goodbye for now. Good night.
Asphere's Cafe has served its last coffee for the night. Produced by AspMedia and TGON